Hello, and welcome back to another stream. Today, I'm going to be doing a scene of Florence again. So I did another Florence scene actually, and quite enjoyed that one. But I found another photograph. This one is also a photograph that I took when I was on holidays over in Italy a few years ago. I didn't spend too much time over in Florence, but for the time that I was there, I took a bunch of these photographs. And as you know, I'm quite obsessed with light and just getting a really nice contrast between light and dark. Sometimes it's not possible, but in this particular photograph I was able to do that. The shadows are nice and sharp as well. Going over to the right hand side, we've got figures in the center of the scene, you've got cars in the back, we've got a car here in the front. So we are going to go through and get this one out the way. I'm going to show you how I go through the entire scene. We've got Foolish Juan here. How you doing? And yeah, happy Chinese New Year to you as well. I spent today just basically with my family, maybe my grandma actually. So yeah, it was good. You know, some of these family gatherings, they do get a bit much. After a while, I just get quite exhausted talking to everyone. So yeah, nice to be back home now and, you know, winding down a little bit. How was yours? Did you get up to much yourself, or just a quiet one? But good to see you again. Good to see you a few days in a row. And yeah, like I was saying, I'm doing this scene of Florence because I really want to try out these different reference photos that I've taken so long ago, but never kind of got around to actually painting them. So this is interesting because the scene here, as you can see, there's this building on the left that has these like yellowy parts to it, and these archways. You know, you've got a tower there in the back as well, which I think I'm actually going to move the tower a little bit more so that it's in perhaps the center, or just a little bit more to the right actually. So yeah, let's see how we go. I do think that I'll preserve most of the little details and stuff like that here, but I do want to shift that tower in the background. And let's just spend the day making dumplings. Yeah, that was something I remember my grandma did, but she did, like, this was when I was younger. She'd make those flour, what do you call them, those like flour, I can't remember what you call them, like with pork and stuff like in them, buns. So yeah, dumplings. I can't remember too much about that, but yeah, good to see that you managed to make it today. It's a few people on Facebook. If you're new here, or if you're watching along, drop me a message in the chats. Keep me company while we go through this workshop today, and especially if you have questions, yeah, just let me know. So I'm gonna just start putting in the center of the scene, which is just a line running through the center of the scene. Now, it's not the middle, but just below the center. Okay, just below the center, somewhere like there. Okay, that's about where the horizon line is. All the way in the back, you can see there are a bunch of buildings, but I want to just get in a quick little, perhaps, silhouette of some of these buildings before I put in all the sort of details. But just see this building here, especially here in the front, one to the right there. Okay, but yeah, I start off with like a quick little scribble, I guess, to get in the silhouette of the buildings, the outline of those buildings, and then kind of just work in the details from there. I suppose that tends to be, for me, a little bit easier. Start off loose and then start to really tidy up those lines, the line work a little bit. Okay, and it's really important with these buildings to pay attention to the angles of those lines. I kind of made a mistake here, but you know that the angles of these lines are a little bit sharper, going a little bit more down like this. Okay, it's not a huge deal, but does help. There, this is kind of like the rooftops or whatever of these buildings. What's this one here? It's kind of like, yep, this top section of the building with the rooftop. here as well. Rooftop of that building, running to the side, coming down like this. I'm going to make this more of like a quick sort of sketch. Don't want to spend too long on this one. Let's have a look. Yeah. Oh, there's kind of like quite a few sort of buildings running over here, isn't it? All the way down to the front of the scene. Let me just get this in a bit better. There we have it. Door here as well. Nice little archway like that. There. Entrance of the door. Like that. And you know, with the drawing, it's always important to, yeah, spend a bit more time on it so that you have something that you can really work with once you get in the watercolors. Okay, yeah, there's actually this bit up the front, closer to the front, just should be maybe a touch wider, like a bit longer as well. Yeah, so this should probably more be like a kind of window up here. Yeah, I really think I'll simplify some of this stuff down, if possible. You can see some of these guiding lines running towards the back. You got a window here. You know, a lot of this stuff is also in the sun, with a bit of light running through it. So when we actually go in with the details of these windows, the little bits of darkness in here really going to make a difference to bring out the something that looks like a window. Okay, couple here. What else do we have? Yeah, let me just reshift this a bit. This I'm just getting. For some reason I'm just getting bogged down with the drawing of this building here in the front. It's bugging me because usually I'll be pretty quick with it, but let me just, you know what we're going to do? I'm just going to simplify the buildings down, especially this one here. Okay, this one comes out and it's just looking at them as boxes. Okay, as I always do, looking at them as boxes. There's a box. Okay, down here there's another box, the side of a box. Okay, and you got the side of it running down like that there. Okay, then you've got another kind of box on top like this. Okay, there we have it. So that looks a little bit better now. There. Okay, then we can put the top parts of these, the rooftops of the buildings there. Another one here. Let's have a look there maybe. Have a bit of shade underneath there. Here, let's put in a little silhouette of some of these other buildings out in the back like this. There. There. And don't feel like you have to go exactly by that reference as well. You can change it up a little bit. This looks like the entrance of a doorway or something here as well. So we'll darken in that section a little bit. Okay, good. Windows, a bunch of these windows running down the side of the buildings like that. Okay, so they're starting to look a bit more like these buildings, and we kind of get to about the mid section of the page around here, where things start turning into these traditional looking front side of these buildings like that, which I'll just put in a little silhouette of that building. Off in the distance there's another one maybe here as well. Simplify that down like that. It's not a huge deal for me, just buildings in the background. Okay, and you notice on the right hand side of these buildings as well that you do get a bit of darkness like that section there, a little bit of darkness running behind the building. Can't really see it on that one there. Oop. Something like this. A few windows, scribbling a bunch of windows like that. Okay, I'll have to probably rejig that. These buildings a little bit more afterwards, add in some more details, but I mean, for the most part, I think we have a good indication of what is going on in here. This door, like this door. Bring it down a bit further, like here, perhaps. Just make it a bit longer. Okay, good. And we have a car here. Let's just put it in roughly around the horizon line. Okay, it's like an older sort of car, but it is very close to the front of the scene. Windscreen first, and the bonnet there. You can also see a bit of the side of the car, but it's obscured by the figure. But you can see, look, the two headlights like that. Quite a basic looking car. I like that it's more angular, and you know, these older cars more boxy shaped. Just makes it actually a lot easier to draw, in my opinion. Whoops, broken the lead on my pencil. Alright, so here's a wheel. Another wheel here. Connect these wheels up. Oh, am I running out of lead? Come on. This always happens. Like, I do have some spares in there. Right. Here we go. So, got the wheel here to the right. And yeah, we've got a person just walking through the scene. Put the head up a little bit further, maybe like here. And I'm going to get his body just coming through, like, so that it's sort of crossing over a bit with the car, but I still see, you know, the left side of it, a touch of the left side of that car as well, like that. Okay. His arm here to the side, another, you know, arm here, kind of just for, you know, the forearm and the hand like that. Okay. And shirt comes down a little bit further, like roughly here. And you've got his legs, just simplified down. One leg there. And one leg maybe in front like this. Okay. So, looks like he's just walking through the scene. But overlapping with this car here as well. Yeah, I like this car. I'm really quite happy with how I've scribbled this in quickly. Get in a bit of that, the grille of that car as well, but the headlamps of the car, exaggerated them and enlarged them a little bit too. Okay. But the wheel here, the couple of the wheels, super important. Yeah, so behind the car, there's like a curb here. There's a curb, and it just kind of goes around the corner, but there's a manhole there on the ground. Let me just get the head in of this figure a bit better, like that. Then we've got another person here just behind the guy, and wearing a hoodie. Okay, but the lady, I think it's the lady, she's roughly the same distance in, you know, to the front of the scene. Okay, there we go. Just a bit of that. She's wearing some shorts, perhaps here. Just some shorts. We can detail that better afterwards, maybe. There we go. The foot, shoe. You can see a bit of a shoe like that, and this other foot just shortened because it is further up, like that. There we are. So she's walking into the scene. Maybe she's on a phone. Looks like she's holding something in her hand. I don't know. Just something up front. She's doing something. Okay. We'll detail these figures a bit more later. But I think we've got a good indication of these figures. This guy just looks like he's walking a bit funny. something about the way I've drawn him is just it's like he's walking intentionally in front of the car or something like that. Let me just, I'll change the direction of the head a little bit. I think he looks a bit better there. That's nicer. Okay. Remember to get the neck in as well. Always, if I'm not careful, I tend to forget the neck. Maybe I can get him facing forwards. Yeah, let's get this guy facing forwards. It's going to be a little bit, maybe a little bit easier to do, and give it more variation, so that we've also got you got like a backpack on, like that. Lady's got a cap on as well here. Cap. Walking to the scene. We've got more people to the left-hand side. This is actually kind of tricky. The buildings to the left, there's so much sort of going on with these buildings. But let's simplify this down. You've got this crisscrossy sort of pattern, zigzagging in, you know, from the left down, up. Oh, this is a little bit tricky. So much can go wrong here, but I'm just trying to simplify this, hopefully. Like that. Okay. These, they're kind of just triangles. If you look at them, they're just triangles. You always got to look at things that you're drawing and realize that they're just shapes. I've got Pamela here in the chat. Hey Pamela, good to see you again. How have you been since yesterday? And I can see a bunch of people on Facebook. If you're new here or you're watching along on Facebook, leave a chat down in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from, and perhaps something that you're working on at the moment with your watercolors. Is it, you know, what are you struggling with? Is it, you know, the materials? Is it learning, you know, your values, learning how to draw even? Let me know so I can answer some of your questions below. Okay, let's get back to this drawing. Okay. Yeah, just want to get some more of these, like, triangular-like shapes here. You're going to get, just reduce the size of them there at the back. Interesting kind of building. I really don't know what sort of building it is. It looks interesting though. That's why I kind of chose it. Apart from the shadow pattern, okay. Apart from the shadow pattern, it just looks kind of odd. Like a bit different from the other sort of buildings. Apart from these, I mean, these archways, of course, look more standard. Okay, another one, sort of archway here. Join up these archways. They're just circular sort of parts underneath, as you can see. All right. What else do we have? Well, I've got this bit here as well. It's important to plan a bit with when you're painting, just so that you're not stuck later on thinking to yourself, you know, where is this, you know, where is this pillar go, or how far is that to the bottom of the scene? So, you know, I used to do that. I used to just leave those decisions until the very end, and when you're trying to paint at the same time, it's just impossible. So you have to make sure you plan very well. There is these sort of, look at that, there's kind of like this, you call it stairs or something going up, but you can't see too many of them. Only maybe all the way out in the back you can see a little bit of them, but the people, you know, the people basically are in the way. And this is kind of where I might want to also indicate some other cars and stuff here out in the back. Now, there is actually a car here, like the windscreen of a car out in the back. I'm going to simplify that down maybe to this. Maybe get in another car-like shape there out in that section out the back as well. Okay, this is going to help make things look a little bit more conjoined, like not conjoined, but like join up the left and right of the scene a touch. Okay, hey, it's warming up, isn't it, Pamela, at the moment in Melbourne? We're finally getting some nice weather over here, but there are just some days that it's really too hot. I wonder what the temperature is going to be tomorrow. Actually, might feel like going out doing something, but not if it's like 38. Ooh. Oh wait, no, you're from New South Wales. What am I talking about? Okay, let's get in this back building like that, and I don't know what this building is. Is it a church? Might be a church. Could be a church. Okay, whatever it is, I'm just putting in a little silhouette of it there in the background, and you can see the window. There's a window here, there's a window here, there's a window here. You know, whatever, just simplify that down. Okay, but one thing I really like is this tower, and you know, it is off to the, it is kind of covered by the building to the left a bit. So look what I'm doing. I'm just going to try to shift it, shift the building a bit to the right. Okay, and this may or may not work like that. Okay, it's basically just like a long sort of, you know, cube. What do you call it? Yeah, something like that. It's so far off in the distance that when you draw stuff like this, it really doesn't make a whole lot of difference. It could be even a clock tower. I'm really not sure. But here it is, anyhow, somewhere off in the back. And, you know, by putting it all the way back there and separate it out slightly from the building to the left, it actually allows me to, yeah, just, I don't know, use it as another feature of this scene, you know, so that we've got some tower or something running through the back like that. Whether I want to get in another building that's running through next to it, yeah, could do. Maybe I'll get in the roof of some building like here, just to kind of close that section. Oh god, I've got some paint on my finger. This is why you should try to draw without the palette right next to you, like I'm doing here. All right, there's just something missing. There's just something missing from this scene, and it's essentially there's an area here to the left. Okay, we've got people just walking around, and I'm gonna put some more in. And another thing I'm thinking about is, do I want to, you know, the shadow pattern, you can see it coming through like this. Do I want to, you know, make the shadows actually come in a little bit less like this? Why am I doing that? Well, maybe that then is going to allow more light here, and I can put more figures here as well that are just going to look more interesting with the shadows underneath, because at the moment all the figures are in darkness, so you're not really going to get too many shadows. You get people standing around, you know, this guy, what's he doing? He's adjusting his sunglasses or whatever, like that, his arm up, standing to the side like this, you know, his shorts like this, whoops, and he's just standing to, you know, oh, he's too, this is a little bit too small. We're having someone all the way back there. We're really going to need them to be, yeah, much smaller, unless we're putting him closer like here. Okay, in which case we can get away with it. Like if I put him here like that, it's kind of standing here near the front of the scene. This makes more sense. Remember, when you're drawing figures, when you're drawing anything, that if you have people closer to the front of the scene, you make them larger. And if you have people further away, you make them smaller, because they're further out in the back. Otherwise, it's just going to look funny. It's going to look like you have a gigantic person out the back, or a very small person up the front. You know, I could probably get away with this figure here out in the back. They could just be just another person out the back there. You know, I won't alter that too much. Yeah, some of this shadow would be good. Yeah, there's just something around here that I wanna put in here. And normally there's probably not any cars here, yeah, but how about let's just put one in. Let's just put a car in here. To kind of mirror this one to the... I'm going to try to mirror that one to the left, to the right, sorry. Don't know which way's front and back now. So here's the bonnet of the car. Copy it a little bit, but not too similar. Yeah, okay. That. Oh. I just redo that. That needs to be a bit more angular like this. Couple of lights. The front of the car, and you're going to see a bit of the left side of the right side of the car there. Sorry, see there. There we have it, and just disappear off into the back. So we've got another car there. All right, just something else, a little car there to maybe just parked in front of this building like that. Need that. And why not? How about I would just put a person here? Let's just put a figure here as well, off in the distance. You know, leg like that. Another person next to them, like here, walking to the right side of the scene. And they're a little bit further off in the distance as well. But you can also have another person here just walking in also to this into the scene like that. Okay, good. I reckon that should be good for the painting. I think that's decent enough sketch. All right, let's get painting. So I've got a medium-sized mop brush here, and I'm really just going to be picking up some basic colors. I've got some yellow, Hansa yellow, and on the right-hand side I've also got a little bit of titanium white. I'm going to mix Hansa yellow with titanium white. This gives you a kind of Naples yellow looking color, which I think works quite well for these buildings here to the right. Over here I actually accidentally dropped in a bit of darker paint. Can you see that? That's a accident before, but I'm just going to spread that around so that, I don't know, mixes in a little bit. Okay, that was just a bit of grey I accidentally dropped in because look, my fingers got paint on it. Okay, here let's get in this building white and yellow. All right, check this out. Simplify that down. Okay, one of the things that I should have done faster in my last painting was I should have just backed myself more and just gone in for it. Just, you know I've got to paint that a certain color. Why am I going in just fiddling around that area for such a long period of time like I did in the last workshop? You know, today I just feel like I'm going to paint with a bit more kind of abandon, and you know, often turns out better that way. But I mean, with a bit of, well, you also have to, of course, plan what you're doing. Okay, just try to paint with fewer brush strokes. Here I've got some bit of this color, bit of this burnt sienna. Let's drop some of that nice burnt sienna in for this door. Amazing. Now this is a bit of kind of like a reddish brown color, beautiful reddish brown color that just indicates that door nicely. Okay, buildings out the back. Let's see, what else do we have? Some more of this kind of off-white color. They're all a similar sort of off-white color, but I do also have some of this yellow ochre, which is, I mean, this is one of the essential colors, I think, anyway, with many paintings, will get you far. Well, this building tower up the top, I'll just pop in a little bit of white on it as well to you know, just bring out some of that warmth in it. Okay. Now this building here, it's got this kind of yellowish tinge, or like a warmish kind of tinge to it. So I'm going to drop in some of this lighter color like this. All right. Not too saturated, but I do have a bit of like lemon yellow mixed in again with some of this white. Okay. Just drop in a bit of that like there. Some of it running out through here as well. Interesting looking building. I think, I don't know, it might be a church. Foolish Ones got a message here asking, wondering, how do you notice if brush marks on a painting look indecisive? You mentioned it about your brush strokes yesterday. Yeah. How can I explain it? It's kind of like, you know, when you paint with a certain style, and sometimes you tighten up too much, and a brushstroke just looks out of place, or a section of the painting looks out of place because you're focusing too much on the details, and so suddenly the brushstrokes look more forced, more without that nice kind of fluidity as you get with, you know, painting with fewer brushstrokes. You know, like this, for example, you get more sort of like, you know, too much of this fiddling around business. Yeah, I don't know if that kind of explained it so well, but yeah, it's kind of when it just deviates a bit more from your normal style, and you know that it looks different from what you usually paint, your brush strokes. You know, with watercolors, you really don't want to be filling around and just painting an area too long, going back in, diluting the water again, and just, you want everything to mix together. And when you have some parts of it that just dry too fast, and you're still working in another area and you're playing around that area, it's just, yeah, you have to time it so that everything kind of joins a bit more together. So here, for example, this edge is still wet, so I can just pick up some more, maybe some brown there, and I'm just going to drop in a bit of, this is, I've got a bunch of browns, but I've got brown ochre. Okay, brown ochre. This will get in the top of this building, like that. But it still leaves a little bit of an edge, as you can see, for the bottom of it here. Okay, for the yellows in there. But I don't want the yellows to just be so obvious and stick out from everything, which is why I'm letting it blend a bit together and having the confidence to do so. You can really tell. Okay, see how it just all kind of melts and blends together. I'm using a lot of this previous color that I had left on the palette to paint some of this stuff in, by the way. Okay, now down into the ground, I'm going to put in some kind of grayish wash of color, right, like this. Let's just get this all in. It's kind of like a yellowy grayish color, all right, to the bottom of the scene. Maybe a bit more, can we get some more blue, like a bit of a cooler color? There we go. That's nicer. Cut around the figures and the legs, because I want to get in a different color for the legs as well. Just a bit more of a proper skin tone in there rather than the gray. Okay, cutting around everything, and look how I'm just joining it all up. See the background and all that stuff that's going on in the distance. There, we can just blend it down into the foreground and it to one nice cohesive wash. So the foreground blends with the midground, which blends with the background. It connects up, and that's just the most important thing to do. Otherwise your painting's going to look disjointed. It's not going to come together as a whole if you don't find a way to join everything. Now the sky is going to be a simple blue, a bit of cerulean blue. Okay, let's drop that in. Oh, Need more water for that. Doesn't matter. Here we go. Bit of cerulean blue. I really like this cerulean blue. I got this a while back. It's a Holbein, I think it is, and yeah, I think I'll get this one for my next cerulean blue. It's just such a beautiful, vibrant, easy to use, easy to control cerulean. A lot of the time, I mean, cerulean is a granulating color, but they've just done this one so well. I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that, by the way. I've just tried tons of different ceruleans. Cutting around, look at that. And notice as I cut around some areas, this is a little hack that I've picked up over some time. I'm trying to just leave a space. Can you see? In some areas where it has not dried yet, instead of waiting for that area to completely dry, I'm just leaving a little mark, a little area, what you call it, a little white mark there, where I have not painted in that section, and that stops the paint, the wet paint, from flowing into it, into the area. Okay, it doesn't always work, but I think it's worked okay here. It's worked all right, but you can see a little bit of the blue sort of spreading in there, but it allows you to get the sky in with one wash. Now let's work on some of the figures, some of the people, and I pick up a smaller mop brush. This is going to make it easier for me to detail. The car needs some kind of bluish color or purplish color, whatever you want to use there, but it does need something. It does need to be darkened down a touch, like that. I'm going to cut around the headlamps like this. Comes down, there we go, and check this out, it just blends kind of into the ground a bit. All right, the windscreen, bit of darkness. Okay, it's just kind of like a quick like wash of color over the top. Okay, this car is also going to be in like darkness really, so just drop in a bit of color here. It doesn't matter really what it is. I'm just, you know, I've got some darker values here, just as long as it mixes into the into that softer color. So in the background, that wash. Good. Let's see, what else do we have? Yes, so the figures, we're going to want to put in some colors for the people and stuff like that. So this guy here, I'm going to put in a bit of this kind of lilac color for his shirt. Okay, you can use whatever you want. I just thought I'd use this lilac-y kind of color. His arms are kind of sticking out the side there. It's not ideal, but it does still look like his arms. Let me just, yeah, that looks maybe a bit better. Okay, this lady to the left, a bit of grey for the shirt or whatever, the hoodie. Whatever I have left on the palette here, I can just kind of feather some of this through like that. Okay. And remember, we're just putting in some light colors, so nothing, nothing too dark, just really light colors. You know, here on the left-hand side, we got some other colors. I've got some red. I'm just dropping a bit of red so I get some pinkish sort of color or something for this person's shirt, like at least a warmer color, a subdued warmer color, like that. Okay, person here in the background, again a little bit of a quick wash of color, maybe darker actually. Oops, like that. Yeah, this figure here is a funny, like, has some funny proportions. I didn't quite get it right, but it doesn't matter, we will work through it. You can also just leave some of them white, the shirt's white, like that. You know, here I want to put in a bit of like a cooler color as well, just a quick little indication of that on that figure. Done, easy. Skin tones. So I basically mix my skin tones with a variety of colors. I use a bit of perylene red, a bit of yellow ochre or lemon yellow. You can pop in a bit of grey there to dull it down. Also a bit of burnt sienna. You can add burnt sienna and ultramarine blue as well to create darker skin tones. Okay, but I'm just trying to create a general, some kind of like pinky sort of brown color. Let's do it for this guy here. There we go. He's wearing shorts actually. Looks like he's not wearing any pants. We'll have to get in some, I'll have to put him in some shorts for him afterwards, but here we go. Just his arms there as well. Just a little bit of color for the arms, and not to mention his face like that. So that's something, you know, we've got a bit of color in for him. All right, so this lady here, maybe put a bit more red. Let's get a bit sort of like a pinkish sort of skin tone for this lady here at the front, perhaps just like that. Yeah, that could be the back of her arm or something there. Okay, good. Pretty basic. This one here, it's kind of, I'm just gonna make him wear like shorts or something. Oh, gone too far. Just mop this up a bit. Okay, bit of red there for this figure off in the back. Oops. Bit haphazard today. Good. The main two figures I really want to get in properly is these two to the center of the scene, because they are bigger. I've done more detailing on those figures, so there is less tolerance for error there. But everything else, every other figure in here, we're pretty much good to go. Okay, so that should be your first wash, guys. You should have something that resembles this. Okay, and for now I'll give this a quick wash, but I'm happy to answer questions. There's about 10 of you on Facebook, and I can see a few of you on YouTube. So if you're watching along and you're enjoying the show, do me a big favor and like the video and share it with a friend, share it with someone on Facebook or a watercolor group on Facebook. It really helps me to get it out to more people and doesn't cost you a cent. But yeah, I would love to hear from some of you guys on Facebook. You're being very quiet tonight, and it's, yeah, obviously this is a time that I don't normally stream. You know, for the best part, I tend to stream at around 10 or 11 a.m. in the morning Australian time, which is a good time, about 7 p.m. Eastern time for those of you in the States. So I'm not sure who's really watching around that time. I do find a lot of my audience from the US tend to catch up on this the next day. But anyhow, I'm going to dry this off with the hair dryer. Okay, so this was a really quick dry, because part of it is still, part of the scene is still wet actually, slightly damp, but I will be able to get all the shadows in with one wash. So I'm going to mix up a grey, and what I'm doing is mixing a bit of ultramarine blue, a bit of perylene red, ultramarine blue, perylene red. Okay, let's mix that together nicely so you get a really strong purple color. And then I'm going to pick up some yellow ochre. Let's mix that in, and all together I should have a nice kind of grayish color. That's great. Purple gray kind of color. This is a great shadow color that we can use for this scene. Okay, let's get cracking. I will start with the buildings here to the left. Let's do this in one go. So we've got a bit of this archway there, here. Oops. Okay. Now the aim here is I just want to cut around. I want to cut around the building and bring this wash further down, okay, but still leave in parts of the background wash as well. Now I've left some of this, as you can see, I've actually left some of the whatchamacallit, these pillars lighter, but I'm actually going to go in afterwards with a darker color to indicate them more. But for now, we can just do this. Okay, there's this background, as you can see, this kind of background value as well for the larger sort of building off in the distance. I'm going to just get that all in quickly in one wash, but also try to leave in some of that previous wash as well, so it's not all completely obliterated. Okay, something like this should do the trick. Find ways to connect it. Let's see, how can I do this? This is tricky. Yeah, it's just the nature of this scene. Interesting kind of structure of this building here. Okay, but as long as we get some of these pointy sort of bits there, we should be good. Underneath here, again, that's like a darker sort of section, you know. Again, I'm just simplifying it down. And when you're using a brush like this is like basically just a round brush. It helps when you, because these archways are sort of roundish on the edges. Okay, so it allows you to be able to simplify paint in those shapes quickly. Okay. Round brush. Got a round brush, and let's work our way through this. Okay. I reckon what I'll do is maybe pick up the spray bottle, because there's just too much sharpness in this section. Give it a spray. And I'm hoping this will blend a little bit together. Move the... There we go. Move the paper around a little bit. This will just blend together a bit more. It's my little trick. When all else fails. Okay, like that. Now we've got a bit of this... Ooh, yeah, a bit of this tower that actually has darkness on the right hand side. I'm going to get that darkness in. Okay, one quick wash like that. Maybe some of this detail up the side of this tower. Okay, quick details, not too much fussing about in there. And truth be told, I can't actually see 100% what is going on in a lot of this tower in the first place. Okay, bit of shadow behind this building here. Okay, so like I said, I'm just trying to find a way to connect these shadows up. You know, this can be a pretend shadow on this building like that. See? So I've now found a way to connect up the left to the right hand side of the scene. You know, here there's a bit of shadow underneath the rooftop like there. You know, when we get to these parts of the scenes, it becomes a little bit easier, like the roof sections of these buildings. You can see this have like darker spots up there, so you can kind of wing it a bit more here. There, let's get this one in there, like that. There's some nice little brush strokes for the windows and stuff like that as well. I'm trying to just use one brush, this one little brush that I'm using here. If I can quickly do it, and quickly put in some of these bits and pieces like that. Yep. Okay. Bit of shadow underneath maybe the buildings like this. Bit of shadow. Join that up. That. Okay. Where's that rigger brush? Where I need it? Here it is. The rigger brush. Right. This does help for small little details of the windows and that. Oops. Simplify this down. Yep. Oop. Okay. Ooh. Good. You know, these little shutters of these windows. Look at that. Just a quick little indication like that. We can bring out those shutters and the windows up the top here, where they don't, where before it didn't really look like much, but now just a little bit of something up there like that. We've got, let's have a look, this edge of the door like that. Bit of darkness underneath the frame. Yeah, really up to you how much you want to detail in this scene. I always like to put in sometimes a bit of darkness behind the figures, where it makes sense to do so. Like if there's a doorway here, for example, see there's a doorway there and a doorway here. I've just, you know, emphasized that doorway a bit more. I should have done it more kind of in that section, but that's all right. Behind these two figures here, let me just actually dab off a bit of paint here. That should rather go darker off in the distance there. Lost my flat brush. Here it is. Little flat brush. These work quite nicely. How you doing, Durenda? Good to see you. Missed half of my demonstration. Yeah, I think for you guys off in the States, it's very early for you. So, yeah, I wasn't expecting really anyone to make this one. But good to see you. Good to see you here. And I hope you're doing all right. You're painting along today, or you're just watching? Alrighty, so these, you know, this is what I was trying to do before. Just get in a bit of darkness behind this figure to kind of indicate maybe a doorway or something behind, because I just didn't go dark enough. Kind of more of a half measure, and that didn't look so good. But with this much darker paint, as you can see, it just emphasizes the light more. And, you know, at the expense sometimes, I think, because I'm doing this so quickly, I'm doing this kind of at the expense of a bit of accuracy, but I really think it's going to look better, still look better, if the brush strokes look more confident. And maybe there is a building out there just also in the distance casting a shadow on that building there. You know, I'm finding ways to join these shadows together. So important to do. You know, as we move further down into the scene, you'll notice there's a car here. So, you know, I was putting in before. So there is a darker sort of area underneath the car. So I can just, you know, again, darken around the base like that. Does that even look like a car? Let's just bring it out a bit further like that. Doesn't look the best, but it does look like something out there. Here's another car shape or whatever out in the distance there. Quick little something. Now when we get closer to the front, it's actually going to be a lot easier. But for example, this person here, shorts, I've forgotten to put clothes on this person, some shorts like that would be good. But what the main thing I'm trying to do is just, you know, bring this shadow. As you can see here, there's a bit of yellow running through the back, but I'm going to just bring this, I guess the shadow shape all across into the front of the scene with, hopefully, a smaller mop brush, little mop brush, like this. Let's blend some of this downwards there, that car shape there in the back as well. Just spray a bit of water in there to encourage some of this to mix perhaps, but still leave a bit of that yellow there as well. I do like that yellow, that yellowish color kind of like showing through parts of the back. Okay, but the most important thing is like joining the shadow. Okay, all these shadows up from the building all the way to the right hand side. Okay, carry some of this stuff down like this. There, bit of darkness, oops, on the figure, on the side of the car as well. Bit of neutral tint to just darken this car a bit, the wheel anyhow. There. What else do we have in the front of the car? Maybe some like indication of the lights. Yep. It's hard to imply this car back there now. It's sort of disappeared a bit into the into this whole area, but yeah, we can try to bring it out a bit more, bring a bit of it more out later. My goal is really primarily just to get this sharper shadow running all the way to the right. Okay, and cutting around some of these figures as well. All right. Good. Large sort of shadow shape. All right. Some of these little bits and pieces of the splotches of paint, no problem. Good, good, good. So we've got in most of that large shadow there to the right, to the left, sorry. Quite happy with that. That looks decent. Now the question is mixing together, making sure that I've got the rest of these, you know, the shadows for the figures as well. So they kind of just join on to the right hand side like that figure there. Look, quick little indication, and this one here as well, this figure running to the right hand side underneath this car, the wheel, really dark sort of wheel like that. Really just darkness underneath this car, almost complete black really, and then you've got the shadow running behind it like there, perhaps there. Yeah, but of course you've got the legs of some of these other figures here that I can just join up like that. I'm just thinking about how to make the legs of this figure a bit darker as well, or at least put some shorts on him like this. Okay. There, bit of detail there underneath the neck, that shadow of the head. Bit of these shadows on this figure as well, right hand side of the figure. Just trying to put some shadows and stuff on the right sides of these figures, and also find ways to just darken in areas. Like here, this, you know, this lady's got some like running shorts or something on. Just a quick little something like that should help. This guy just needs to maybe be darker, the shorts. That. Right. Good, good, good. So far things are looking fairly cohesive and sort of joining on together, but yeah, just still working my way through this. Okay, the shadows of these figures, like, see, I'm just trying to get this sort of shadow cast onto the wall for this figure here as well. Bit of darkness running to the right of the figure, behind the legs, maybe like that as well. Okay, good. There's creases in the clothing, like this. Looks like she's holding something or whatever out the front. It's done something funny here, but that's all right. Now I've got this figure kind of here in the darkness. I will bring that figure out a bit more, and same with this car later. But I do like how that shadow pattern has come through so far. Just looking at what else we might want to potentially do. You know, the car, just a little bit of this thing here. Darren just says, just watching my eyes aren't all the way open, need my morning tea. Yeah, it does sound like pretty early for you. What time is it, like 5, 6 a.m. for you? I can't stomach getting up before like 8-ish. Sometimes I do wake up really early and I can't get back to sleep. That's about the only time that I might actually go and do something productive with my time. Otherwise, I'd have no business being up at that time. I can't do it. I just can't do it. So this car, you can see inside the car, there are actually some small little details and intricacies in there. Okay, I'm gonna just put in some indications of that. You can see just some dark spots in the windscreen. Okay, so I don't know. I'm just simplifying this, of course. Down. Sharper line here, marking the edge of the windscreen. Right. Okay. Okay. I'm going to give this a quick dry and then we'll go over with some finishing touches and call it a day. Alrighty, finishing touches, guys. We're just about done. We are just about done, and really, for this last step, all I'm gonna do is pick up, yeah, basically two smaller brushes. I've got a smaller round brush, um, smaller round brush, and a rigger brush, if I can find it. That's sort of like a rigger. There we go. So this basically this next step is just putting in the final really dark colors and anything that you might want to emphasize here. So I'm just picking up a bit of really dark color, and it can be neutral tint, can be anything, but I'm just gonna look at some areas that I can potentially bring out of the darkness, more dry brush some of this stuff on, okay, without overstating it as well. Okay, so just a few kind of downward brush strokes for these columns. Okay, because I just thought I lost out a bit of the detail here. There's some windows here. Look, there's a window up there. There's part of the architectural detail of the building as well that you can just put in like that. You know, just it's part of this. Oops. This needs to be a bit more dry brushed on like this. Yep, good. Because I lost some of it before. You know, more downward brush strokes like that. There. You know, even in the background, there's some, you know, little bits and pieces of stuff there that you can, you know, just indicate and whatever, but no big deal. That. Okay. The wheel of the car here and there, just darken a bit underneath the car, really to bring it out more of the, you know, out of the shadows a bit more like this, and same, sort of bring out the figure here behind the car there. Here's like warmer color for the face, like that as well. Bit of shadow for this. Let's get in a bit of shadow for this figure as well. Just something, these two. I thought there was just missing a bit of something, even for maybe the car behind as well, just to get in some sharpness too. But truth be told, there's really not that much shadow. I mean, all the shadow is just kind of like one color, basically. But I thought, why not just change it around a little bit and get some more detail into this darker section of the ground here, because there's really not all that much detail back here. It kind of looks bare, too bare if you ask me. So some of this pavement sidewalk there, just have a look at how this sidewalk is like this. Oops. Yeah, just lighter maybe, like this. Yeah, I'm just trying to get in a bit of this, like, indication of the road. May or may not have worked. We'll see at the end. Yeah, some of it looks okay, some of it probably not. Looks alright, looks alright. Probably a bit too overstated, but That's fine. Okay. Bit of hair or something for some of the figures. I'm going to pick up some brown and some black, just some darker colors that I can maybe drop in, emphasize the figures, the heads of the figures. Bit of color there for the back. Maybe some longer hair for this figure, this person here in the front. This person here, just a bit of hair and head. Some other color here. Just I'm gonna put in some hair for some of these people. And you know, the interesting thing is where you put the hair is important. If you put it on the left, or you know, it looks like they're walking to the right. If you just put it to the back, sorry, to the top like that, looks like they're looking forward. So yeah, really think about where you're going to position the hair to make it look like people are walking in different directions, that kind of thing, through the scene. But overall, I think we got a decent little painting out of this. You know, I often use these little ones in bigger paintings. Okay, these are kind of like, these are A4 size paintings, but I can definitely see myself turning this into a much larger one at some stage. And yeah, one thing I like about this particular scene, I think, is that I've managed to get in quite confident brushstrokes over the entire scene. I'm going to give it a dry and put some gouache in it. Pamela's saying, I love how it starts to look good when the shadows go in. Yeah, the shadows just bring it all together, don't they? They really save the day. Even if you've got a painting that doesn't look all too detailed, I tell you what, once you add some shadows in there, it all starts to make sense. The light, the darks, even the figures, just a tiny bit of detail for those, for the figures can just pull it all together. So I'm just bringing out a bit of white gouache here, and this is like a finishing technique, which is absolutely, which is fantastic, really, to get in little highlights of color, little highlights of bits and pieces. But usually I just use plain white gouache. Unfortunately, I do have some grey mixed in there by accident. It's probably not gonna be as super white as I'd like it to be, but it'll be okay. Okay, so just a bit of this white gouache, maybe here in the head of that person, that figure here, there. You know, sometimes you get a bit of that light just scooting off the top of the figures. Okay, that's a kind of like a shoulder there, hey? Like that. Just bring out a bit of the light on the head and shoulders of the figures. Oops. That. And the cars out in the back as well. You know, there's a car here as well. Bring some of this color back, some of the light back anyway. Even these figures out here in the dark, that's what I was saying before. You can start to bring them out a bit as well, like this. Okay, the car here, just a little bit of that light catching on the windscreen on the front of the car, and then, you know, the lights here as well. Look at that. Starts to look much more like a car after you add these tiny little things. You know, this person walking around here as well, just in the front of the scene. We've got just a bit more for the arm here. I really, you know, the figures out in the middle of the scene, I really like to detail them a touch more if possible. Okay, a little bit of that highlight of that car out the back, that one there. What else do we have? Yeah, look, I mean, you can go into the buildings. I wouldn't overdo it though, but just like, you know, a few spots here and there. It's no big deal. Sometimes I also like to just put some little guiding lines coming through here, but you just have to be careful with this too, so that you're not, yeah, probably leave it actually. Yeah, okay, let's take the tape off and see how we have done today. How have you guys found today's workshop? I'm so glad this one turned out okay. I wasn't sure to begin with because this building to the left just looked like a nightmare to paint, but I always want to give myself a new challenge, something a little bit different. Let me know in the comments what you think of today's workshop. I hope you found it helpful, and you know, as you said, the one today I'm much more happy with than what we did yesterday, because although yesterday is probably a bit more detailed in some parts of it, I really got a consistent style throughout this scene. I felt a lot more confident with my brush strokes. I thought to myself, you know, where this works out or not doesn't matter. It's a pretty simple looking sketch, but it does have elements of detail. It does read correctly as what I wanted in this particular scene, with the lights on the right hand side, you know, these cars, a bit more detail in the figures as well, which is something I've been trying to improve and work on, and what more sort of my patience with painting these figures. I'm just so impatient at times, and I just get them in a few goes, but as you can see, you can actually detail a little bit more, and it won't take much time as well. And guys, if you're watching along and you've been enjoying my workshops, really do consider signing up for my Patreon. It's in the video description or in the comments down below. If you're watching on Facebook, it really does help me to continue running these workshops, especially if they're helping you out. Check it out, because there's also some courses there too. You get access to 10 of my courses in the middle tier, and there's also 70 course program, so go ahead and check it out. I'm just having a look at the comments. Hey, Glenn says very enjoyable as always. Cheers, Glenn. And you know, one of the things I love doing is just painting from reference photos that I've taken myself, and this one, you know, you wouldn't believe how it just consolidates that memory, and it turns it into something quite personal. And yeah, so, you know, taking your own reference photos, painting them, really recommend doing that if you're learning watercolors. What else we got? We've also got Tone. How you going, Tone? Hi there. Came in from a dog walk in snowy weather. Get the final of your tutorial. Yeah, I really liked your last painting, Tone. You have some skill. You definitely have some skill in painting the details of the figures, the cars, those small intricate things. So don't give up on that. I know I tell everyone to, you know, sometimes loosen up here and there, but yeah, I really like those details that you put in with the cars and the figures. And if you can experiment around with trying to make the buildings like that, or you can try to loosen up the cars and the figures and make the buildings, you know, try different styles of looseness and more sort of sharper styles, and you might find a balance. You know, what I've been trying to do these days, I've been painting everything really, really loosely, but I'm trying now to create pockets of detail in paintings. So you notice here, this area here, I've created like a little pocket of detail, bit more detail for the car, a bit more detail for that figure. But if you look around, you know, there's a little pocket of detail here, but not really. Everything else is, you know, hit and miss. It does look, it's a person, you can tell they're people, but it's very loose. But I'm trying to use detail in areas, one to just increase my patience in doing that, but also to draw attention to a particular area in a painting, to like kind of like a focal point. So alrighty, that's about it. I think I'm going to finish this one off. Thank you again for joining, and again, if you're liking my videos, support me on Patreon. The lowest tier there is $2 a month. Get access to all of my previous workshops. There's nearly 100 of them up there. All the reference photos are available, full reference photos, and the tracing templates. If you don't want to draw, you can actually just trace them straight up. So let's have a look.
Durenda says, so far this scene is my favorite. Thanks again for doing these. Thank you. You're quite welcome, Durenda, and thank you for coming along and supporting me. And I'll see you next time, Pamela, too. And yeah, finish this one off. Good night, everybody.